Logan, I'd like you to meet Aurora Monroe, also called Storm. This is Scott Summers, also called Cyclops.
Could Loki Season 2 really be about to introduce the X-Men? Hello, my name's Tommy and I am delighted to welcome you to Podcast Assemble. If you're a fan of hair whipping, you might be aware that a certain comic book spin-off TV show just dropped a Season 2 teaser. And it looks epic.
Come on. What did you expect?
Season 2 introduces us and Loki to a new phenomenon in the MCU called Timeslipping. And boy does it look painful. Well, maybe not as painful as watching some of the recent TV content. Let's talk about the importance of timeslipping and why it could signal the introduction of the X-Men.
It's funny that I only ever see two of you. It's almost like the studio couldn't afford another X-Men.
Loki Season 1 left our titular anti-hero on a cliffhanger, with the main version of Loki stranded in a familiar, yet unfamiliar setting. The season finale saw Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston, and Sylvie confront He Who Remains at the Citadel at the end of time. Here, He Who Remains explains that he's been manipulating the sacred timeline all along to prevent the rise of his dangerous variants, who would plunge the multiverse into chaos, ultimately giving them the choice: take over his role and keep the timeline controlled, or kill him and unleash the multiverse's variants. Needless to say, the gods of mischief live up to their reputation.
See you soon.
This results in all kinds of untold chaos, with the TVA losing control of their grasp of the multiverse's sacred timeline. Loki is unceremoniously thrust back to the TVA, where all is not as it seems. As he frantically attempts to try and warn Mobius and B-15 about the multiverse's creator, we are ultimately left with the chilling discovery of a Kang variant statue, likely that of the Conqueror version, in the TVA headquarters, signaling a new timeline and a new power structure. Loki is in a new divergent reality where the TVA is likely ruled by this Kang variant. Oh, the ramifications! But, I hear you ask, what is timeslipping? In the new trailer, we see the titular mischievous god having a dance-off with an air wind tube puppet, with what can only be described as some seriously nifty breakdancing moves.
Gotta get it.
Oh wait, it's not supposed to look that painful? How are you supposed to do it then? Here, we're introduced to what is actually happening, described wonderfully by the legend who is Ke-Hu Kwang.
Wow, time slipping.
Wait, you know that?
Yeah,
You've seen that?
yeah.
Can you fix that?
No, it's impossible to time slip in the TVA.
I know, but we just saw it happen.
On one hand, this looks remarkably like glitching, which you've seen in both Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse.
Glitching? No. Why would you even say that?
However, there are some key differences. In the Sony Helm movies that focus on Miles Morales as the central Spidey hero, the gang convulse and jerk whenever they happen not to be in their own universe, or glitching. Now, as similar as this looks to what's happening to poor old Loki, it's not quite the same. What glitching refers to is slipping between different universes, with time remaining a constant. Think of it a bit like how Rick and Morty slip between dimensions, but in a way less elegant manner.
It's not like we can do this every week anyways. We get 3 or 4 more of these tops.
Whereas on the other hand, Loki is slipping through time. This is happening on the same universal dimension, with his physical form seemingly unable to remain in the same moment. It's all a bit timey-wimey, I appreciate. We may have in fact already seen something which appears somewhat similar, perhaps in a slightly more controlled way through Doctor Strange in Infinity War. So time-slipping and glitching, similarly painful as they look, Loki himself describes it best.
I've been pulled through time between the past and the present. If what I saw is true, there's nothing to stand between this world and utter destruction.
But where does this bring in the X-Men? Hold your horses, I'm getting there. For that, we're going to have to take a little wander through the comics. In the X-Men universe, there is a character called Rena Patel, who is a mutant known as...
Wait for it. Here it comes. Almost there.
Timeslip. Rena's mutation imbues the character with the ability to view and communicate with versions of herself across various timelines, providing insights and sometimes guidance. God, imagine if you could go back and tell yourself not to get those bangs cut in. In the comics, time-slipping refers directly to Rena's power of interacting with these versions, granting her a unique understanding of timelines and potential outcomes of divergent ones. Think of it a bit like Amy Adams' character in Arrival, but without a fixed timeline. Now, there are so many ways this could be used in the MCU. One example might be, why not have Rena introduced as a way of helping Loki understand and control his new powers? Or perhaps the TVA have already encountered Rena previously, hence why Ke-Huy Quang knows all about time-slipping. Could you just imagine Loki becoming an omnipotent time being with the assistance of Rena? And if not, Deadpool 3 will probably introduce the X-Men to just immediately kill them anyway. But what we want to know is, what do you think? Do you think the mutants might be introduced in Loki Season 2?
McAvoy or Stewart? These timelines are so confusing.
Let us know in the comments below. And while you're there, feel free to drop us a like and subscribe. I've also linked below our website, www.podcastassemble.com, where you can find our regular podcast, Podcast Assemble, and so much more. Why not join us for more geek content? Thanks for popping by. Tally ho!